This thrilling story begins by showing a few Russian people moving through a forested area. Among these Russian families, there was a girl named Nestya. Nestya loved playing the flute. She had a brother named Kol, who was always interested in fighting. He dreamed of becoming the king of an empire someday. From childhood, he had the desire to become a great leader. All the Russian families were resting in the middle of the forest, but suddenly, they were attacked by Mongolian troops. The Mongolians began killing the entire Russian group. It seemed like they were their enemies. Nestya and her brother Kol managed to hide in a safe place. Even though Kol wanted to be a warrior, he wasn't ready to fight them yet. Both of them remained hidden, but the Mongolians eventually found them too and captured Kol. At this point, the entire scene goes blank. Now we are shown a moment where Kol has suddenly grown up. He starts having strange dreams, which deeply disturb him and cause him to scream out loud. Nestya, now grown into a beautiful young woman, runs to comfort him. Kol was clearly very disturbed, so Nestya began explaining everything to him. She told him that they were married and had 3 children. Many years ago, they escaped the Mongolians and settled in a different kingdom. Kol was now a soldier serving the prince of that kingdom. But the real issue was that Kol couldn't remember anything that had happened over the past several years. Everything felt like a puzzle that he couldn't piece together. He began noticing that what Nestya was saying was actually true. He really was living in a different kingdom now. Kol decided to spend more time with Nestya and learn more. But suddenly, a soldier named Karkin arrived and informed Kol that he had to come to the palace. Kol had no choice, as he served Prince Yuri. When Kol arrived among the other soldiers, they all saluted him, which made him realize that he must hold a high rank. He was still trying to process everything when Prince Yuri himself arrived and welcomed him. Prince Yuri explained that a problem had arisen. Soldiers had been spotted near the borders of their kingdom, seemingly approaching their side. Prince Yuri wanted Kol to give his opinion, should they attack or not? Because unless they approached and observed, they couldn't be sure. But if they waited too long, the enemy might breach their kingdom. They had to make some kind of decision. Kol carefully observed the incoming soldiers and, based on their movements, he didn't feel they were enemies at all. So, Kol suggested that Prince Yuri should not attack them. They were not their enemies. And soon, this turned out to be true. Those soldiers weren't enemies but troops from a neighboring kingdom who had arrived to attend a major event hosted by Prince Yuri. The event was to celebrate the birth of Prince Yuri's grandson, and the soldiers had come to offer their blessings. Everyone was very pleased with Kol for his wise suggestion. Kol then returned to train the soldiers. He was their leader, guiding and instructing them properly. Shortly afterward, Prince Yuri's son, Fedor, came to meet Kol. Fedor and Kol were close friends, but Kol didn't remember any of this. He simply accepted whatever came to his mind. Fedor praised Kol for doing an excellent job and informed him that a grand celebration had been planned at the palace later that day. Fedor invited Kol to join the festivities so they could enjoy together. But Kol wanted to test if Fedor was truly strong, so he challenged him to a sword fight. Fedor, in the excitement, accepted the challenge. However, during the duel with the soldiers watching, Fedor lost. He was humiliated in front of everyone and stormed off angrily. Later, Kol returned home after finishing his duties. He had brought several gifts for his children and wife. For the children, he brought a small creature that was very cute, and for his wife, he brought an unusual piece of wood, something he thought she liked. But upon seeing the wooden piece, Nestya didn't appear happy. She quietly put it away and left. At that spot, we see that there are many such wooden structures already stored, the exact same ones Kol keeps gifting her again and again. Kol doesn't remember any of this and keeps repeating the same actions. What is the real problem here? Even though Nestya seems to know the truth, she chooses not to tell Kol. Now, we are shown the grand palace of Prince Yuri, where everyone has gathered to bless the prince's newborn grandson. Everyone seems happy, but the happiest of all is Fedor. His son has finally come into this world. But just then, several soldiers suddenly arrived and warned that a massive Mongolian army was trying to breach their kingdom. Upon hearing this, everyone present at the ceremony grew extremely frightened. The ceremony was immediately called off, and all soldiers were deployed to defend the palace. From atop the royal palace, everyone could now clearly see the enormous Mongolian army approaching, likely with the intention of taking over the entire kingdom. No one knew how to deal with such a sudden attack. Prince Yuri's advisors suggested that they should request help from neighboring kingdoms. This would strengthen their military forces and help them confront the Mongols. Prince Yuri liked this idea and ordered his soldiers to visit various kingdoms and seek their aid. But before doing so, they needed to find out what the Mongols actually wanted. Why were they attacking in this way? Outside, we see Kol, who had left the royal meeting midway and come into the city. He was there to observe the public situation, how people were reacting to the threat of a Mongol attack. Every family's life was in danger, and people were hurriedly gathering their belongings to flee far from the battlefield. Amidst all this chaos, Cole encountered a healer who was asking him for some medicines. The healer needed them for his family. But Cole was already deeply disturbed by his own fragmented memories, constantly forgetting things. For now, he simply accepted whatever came to him and connected it to his present reality. The healer's name was Jack, and he was fluent in the Mongolian language, a detail Cole took special note of. Later, when Cole returned home to Nestya, he found that Prince Yuri was already there, waiting. Prince Yuri had something very important to ask of Cole. In fact, Prince Yuri wanted Cole to take a few men and visit the Mongolian camp to find out what their chief actually wanted. Prince Yuri himself wasn't going due to security reasons. Cole saw this as a direct command. He had no idea of the real danger involved. In his mind, whatever Prince Yuri asked of him, he was determined to fulfill without question. Nestya also understood that going to the Mongolian camp was extremely dangerous. She started crying in front of the king, begging him not to send her husband into the jaws of danger. But it seemed that Cole had already accepted Prince Yuri's command, meaning he would go with a few companions to the Mongolian camp to speak with their chief and find out the real reason behind the invasion. Very soon, the soldiers who would accompany Cole were selected. Karkin was included in the group, and they also took Jack, the healer, along, since he knew the Mongolian language and could serve as an interpreter. Nestya sent one of her maids with them to take care of Cole's food and basic needs, while she stayed back to look after their children. Cole bid farewell to his wife and set off with his group toward the Mongolian camp. Their journey was going to be long, so they made proper preparations and packed all necessary resources. Snow was falling heavily, and it seemed like a storm might come, but they still managed to reach the large Mongolian camp. The Mongolian guards thoroughly checked them before allowing them in. Inside, everyone sat together, and soon the Mongolian king, Batu, made his entrance. Batu belonged to Genghis Khan's family, the same bloodline known for conquering and ruthlessly destroying neighboring kingdoms. Batu first ordered his men to serve proper food to the visitors. Cole and his group sat together and followed the customs as requested. Then Jack, fluent in Mongolian, directly asked, "What do you want from us?" Batu replied that he had no personal enmity with them, but Prince Yuri's entire kingdom was situated in a location considered very lucky by the Mongols. They wanted to capture it and build their empire there. That's why Batu wanted the kingdom to surrender peacefully. After understanding everything, Cole stood up boldly and declared without fear that they would never hand over their kingdom. Batu would have to fight them if he wanted to take it. The way Cole stared at Batu seemed disrespectful, but Batu, surprisingly, felt a bit pleased by Cole's bravery. He didn't harm him. Instead, he gave Cole a pendant. This pendant was a symbol of protection. If Cole ever entered the Mongolian territory, soldiers would not attack him. Then, for some unclear reason, Batu had the guests seated comfortably, played music, and invited the ladies to dance, trying to create a festive and distracting atmosphere. But Cole and his group didn't realize they were being deceived. As soon as their focus shifted, the Mongolian soldiers began attacking. Fortunately, Cole quickly alerted his team, and a fierce sword fight erupted inside the tent. On one side was Cole's small team, and on the other, the vast Mongolian army. Batu had also kept several dangerous prisoners locked up nearby, but Cole and his group freed them, and those prisoners joined their side. Together, they started fighting their way out of the camp, cutting down enemies and pushing forward in an attempt to escape. Because they had to escape this territory, they couldn't keep fighting such a large number of soldiers. Fedor was following behind them, but he had been severely injured, so he decided to fight until the end. Fedor managed to kill several soldiers, but Batu ordered his men to finish him off. Due to the overwhelming number of enemies, Fedor couldn't hold out and was ultimately killed. On the other side, Cole and the remaining members of his team were escaping toward their kingdom. The snowfall wouldn't stop, and several members were already injured. They urgently needed medical attention, or they wouldn't survive. As they entered a forested area, a huge ice bear came charging toward them. Seeing this, Cole was terrified. But then it was revealed that the bear was actually under the control of a soldier named Nestor. Nestor didn't attack them and ordered his bear to stop. Because of the deep night and heavy snowfall, they all took shelter in a cave to spend the night. Nestor was sitting nearby. Cole asked him why he kept forgetting things. Every morning when he woke up, all his memories were gone. Nestor responded that maybe it was a good thing. He got a fresh chance to start a new life each day. Nestor didn't explain things properly, and so Cole didn't press the question further. In the morning, Cole left the cave with his companions. Nestor remained behind. Maybe that cave was his home. Cole and his team continued toward their kingdom because they had to deliver an urgent message to all soldiers and Prince Yuri. The Mongolian army was coming soon, and they had to prepare. After traveling constantly, when Cole and his companions finally reached their kingdom, they were shocked to see that the situation was already catastrophic. The Mongolian army had already attacked. Most people were dead, even Prince Yuri had been killed, and Nestya too was gone. Seeing everything in such ruins left Cole and the others devastated. Their hope was shattered, especially for Cole, who was hit the hardest. The first thing Cole did was go with a few companions to open the kingdom's bell tower and ring the large bell loudly. This bell was a signal for any survivors nearby to come out of hiding, so they could regroup in safety. But a problem arose. The sound of the bell also alerted more Mongolian soldiers, and they started approaching from all directions. Chaos broke out again. Realizing this, Cole quickly devised a plan with his remaining comrades. According to the plan, Cole deliberately stayed behind at the same spot to lure the Mongolian soldiers. As expected, they captured him and began preparations to execute him by hanging. But Cole didn't act at first. He waited until the soldiers came closer, and then suddenly broke free and began attacking them. At Cole's signal, his hidden comrades also emerged and launched a surprise assault on the Mongolian troops. The Mongolian unit couldn't handle such a sudden and well-coordinated attack, and one by one, they were all killed. Cole used his combat skills effectively and helped eliminate the entire small Mongolian unit. Soon, all the remaining survivors arrived at that spot, most of them were children. So Cole instructed a few people to inform the other neighboring kingdoms and request their help. He decided to hide all the children in Nestor's cave to keep them safe. Meanwhile, the rest of the group began planning how to defend themselves going forward. At that moment, Jack, the same healer, arrived and proposed a plan. He mixed a strange liquid into the water supply that the Mongolian army was consuming. After drinking the contaminated water, a large portion of the Mongolian troops fell ill. This weakened their military strength to some extent. To distract the remaining soldiers, Cole fired arrows carrying small notes. These notes contained false location information, claiming he was alone at a specific spot. Soon after, a Mongolian leader, along with a squad of soldiers, arrived at the marked location, thinking they'd easily capture Cole. But this was a trap laid by Cole and his team. As the Mongolian soldiers advanced toward Cole, a volley of arrows rained down from behind, striking the enemy. None of the Mongolian troops could even reach Cole. Every one of them in that squad was killed. But suddenly, Cole collapsed unconscious. Everyone rushed to help him, but it seemed he had suffered a seizure, and might once again forget everything. Later, we see Cole regaining consciousness. Sitting beside him was the maid his wife had sent to look after him. Cole could only remember that he had been attacked, and that he must protect himself. He also remembered that the Mongolians were killing his family. The maid gently helped free him and set him up again. But Cole, in a sudden outburst, began shouting harshly at the maid and even started attacking his own people. All the soldiers tried to calm him down and explain things to him. Even Karkun and Jack held him back and reminded him, "You're our leader. You should be guiding us, not fighting us." After hearing all that, something finally seemed to click in Cole's mind. He calmed down and even apologized to his maid. Although his memory was still fading, his behavior had become very rough and unpredictable. One day, Cole began hearing strange voices. He followed the sounds out to an open field, and his maid followed him. There, Cole discovered something horrifying: the body of his third messenger, the one he had sent to the other side to seek help. He had been brutally killed and hung as a warning. Cole soon realized that this was a trap set by the Mongolians. A Mongolian leader and his unit ambushed Cole at that very place. But Cole was now much stronger than before. He defended himself skillfully and injured as many soldiers as he could. At one point, it seemed like he wouldn't be able to survive against so many enemies, but just then, Nestor arrived. Nestor had come with his massive ice bear, who charged directly at the Mongolian soldiers. The bear was so fierce and fast that the soldiers didn't even get a chance to fight back. Many were killed on the spot, and several fled in terror. That entire Mongolian unit was wiped out, thanks to the timely help from Nestor and his bear. The few soldiers who managed to escape returned to the Mongolian kingdom. The defeated leader reported everything to King Batu: how they were defeated, how many of their soldiers had been killed, and how their enemy had been aided by a massive bear. Batu was furious upon hearing this. Along with his advisors, he began devising a new plan. But for now, he gave strict orders to pull back all the advancing troops. That meant no more attacks, at least for the time being. Back on Cole's side, news spread quickly that the Mongolians were retreating. Everyone in the kingdom began celebrating, believing their empire was finally safe. Despite the temporary peace, Cole insisted that all the children be taken to the safety of Nestor's cave. Even though the Mongolians had pulled back, he wanted to stay prepared for a possible future attack. Cole ordered Karkun to take all the children to the cave while he and the remaining soldiers began setting traps for any enemies who might approach. But then, as some of Cole's men went to scout the rear path of their kingdom, they were stunned. Batu had arrived with his entire Mongolian army. The retreat was nothing but a deception. They were actually planning to attack from another route. Because of this sudden ambush, the soldiers were caught completely off guard and didn't even get a chance to fight back. One unit of the Mongolian army climbed to a higher position and started slaughtering the defending soldiers. Meanwhile, Karkun had reached a point with the children where they would need to take boats to escape. To buy them more time, Cole and his comrades kept fighting the Mongolian forces. Cole had only around 100 soldiers left, while the Mongolian army numbered in the hundreds of thousands. If they attacked all at once, no one would survive. Cole knew this truth, yet he kept fighting to his last breath. Batu noticed this and was amazed that even in the face of such a massive army, Cole showed no fear. He thought any king would surrender in this situation to save himself, but Cole refused to bow down. Finally, Batu ordered a volley of arrows to be launched. The sky was filled with arrows, and every one of Cole's remaining soldiers was killed in the onslaught. But Cole died with a sense of satisfaction, knowing at least the children had escaped safely. Karkun took them to a secure place. Batu was shocked by Cole's bravery and asked him, "What do you want?" Cole simply replied, "I will never hand over my kingdom." Batu then ordered his soldiers to attack Cole directly. Massive stones were hurled at him, and Cole was left half dead. A while later, when Cole regained consciousness, all his comrades had been slain. He approached the Mongolian army, clutching the same golden pendant. Baku, Batu's general, had previously said that as long as Cole had that pendant, no Mongolian soldier would touch him. But now, Cole was at the brink of death. He collapsed on the battlefield and breathed his last. The pendant slipped from his hand. Batu now fully understood that Cole had been a truly great warrior. Such warriors are rare. He ordered his men to give Cole a proper funeral. Stones were arranged around Cole's body, and the Mongolian soldiers saluted him in honor. Then, the story jumps ahead by several years. We see Karkun, now training many new soldiers and building a new army. He tells them the story of Cole's sacrifice, how Cole gave his life for the kingdom and how this land is their kingdom too. With his inspiring speech, Karkun motivates his people to prepare for war, to rise again and fight against the Mongolian forces. He begins making plans for a counterattack. And with that, our story comes to an end.